Host Rob from Robbie Raz Reviews, as always. In a stunning turn of events, we actually started the show on time today. Well, we actually would have been early, but Barry wouldn't stop talking. So
it was good stuff.
So we got Logan, co-host, co-founder, co-business, co-nonsense in the green room. Hey, you're creepy again today, or it's dark, and I can't see your face.
I mean, I gotta hide all my blackheads, man. They're getting out of control.
Yeah, it's that's. Great.
I got a facial the other day. I told you that, right? It was a cool experience. Side note.
Let's not.
What was his name?
Her name was Sally.
Yeah, let's. Yeah. Anyway, boy, we just rock bottom 2 minutes.
Hey, but that's how we roll here.
So
sorry.
we got Barry from Miami Cigar joining us today. Barry, thanks for coming out and chatting with us again today.
Nah, it's my pleasure. I had a lot of fun the first time around, so let's see if we could top it or at least keep it near the same level.
Yeah, that first show was one of my favorites. If you guys haven't seen it, I think we've got it here on. I know it's on Robbie Raz Reviews in the archives. I think we have it here on Cigar Federation as well. That was a fun show that we're fairly well now. Now we know that everything's being listened in on, but we're pretty sure that some people were listening in on that last show too. So we've got Barry here. Barry, tell us what's going on, man. Are you you're still down in Miami, or you're getting ready for the show and all that, but you're not moving just yet, huh?
Nah, year and a half down here, living large, enjoying life, getting ready for the trade show, which happens. I actually leave a week from Friday. We got all our product ready to go. Introducing a few new products. Another day, another dollar. A lot of fun, a lot of work, but it's all about the relationships you build on every level, from the store managers, the store owners, bloggers that I used to blog with, new bloggers that I'm looking forward to meeting for the first time. It's a good time. It's our convention. It's our fraternity sorority party. It's all about having fun, because at the end of the day, we're brothers and sisters. So that's all that matters.
America.
Yeah, it sounds like a Hallmark card.
That's great, man.
All we need is little pink houses for you and me.
Dude, and John Mellencamp, that'd be sweet.
Off topic, I drove a Cougar when I was in college, a Mercury Cougar, one of those big ones with the velour seats. It was just bench seats. It was a huge car, and I called it John, and nobody got it. Nobody. I mean, it was, but that was back in the hip hop days.
That's because you're like 100.
Yeah.
Compared to me.
True story. Anyway, so we've got IPCPR coming up. You guys have a ton of releases coming out. You've got the Casa Miranda Chapter 2, which you were nice enough to send me a sample of. I smoked. I have not posted my review yet, but we'll talk about it. The La Aurora 107 Maduro, I think, is out already, right?
The TAA shops have it, and everybody else will be able to order it at the trade show next week. So you'll get a nationwide release shortly thereafter.
And what else? And you've got some other stuff we were just talking about. What else you guys have coming out?
Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than years past, what we're coming out with. We got a line extension with La Serena. On the La Serena side, we got the doubloon coming out, which is a Salomon. And on the Merlion side, we got a Sea Lion coming out, which is the size that Ariel likes to smoke at the events. It's basically a small Preparito type shape. And so that's the line extension. Casa Miranda could be looked at as a line extension. We have Chapter 1 out already. Chapter 1's been out since 2009. And this year, we're going to turn the page, and we're going to start Chapter 2. That comes out at the show. It's made at My Father Cigars down in Nicaragua. It's a medium to full-bodied cigar. Nice amount of spice on the front end, a lot of flavor. You smoked it, Rob, so you can attest to the flavor of it. It's one of our most flavorful cigars, I think. And then on the La Aurora side, we have Family Reserve, which will come in a nice 16-count box. It'll kind of be like a black and white cookie. Half the box will be black, half the box will be white. You'll open up the box, and inside the box, on the left side, you'll have the Guillermo Leon in a box press format, the first box press cigar that La Aurora has ever released. And then on the other side of the box will be the Fernando Leon, which will also be box press. And then continuing the tradition of the Puro Vintage, after the 2003 and the 2004, this year we have the Puro Vintage 2005. That cigar is in a Salomon shape, and it consists of tobacco entirely harvested in the year 2005.
Wow.
So it doesn't get any more aged than that. And that's pretty much the new releases that'll be at the trade show.
So I know that you've smoked all of them. Which one's your favorite?
I haven't gotten to smoke all of them. I haven't had you know what? Actually, I have smoked all of them. My favorite one is the box press Guillermo and Fernando Leon. It totally changes the profile of the cigar. I always say that a box press cigar is like when you were a kid and you had like a cheese sandwich or something and you squished it. It just tasted so much better. All the flavors were more compacted, much like a Cuban sandwich in Miami. If you take all the ingredients of the Cuban sandwich and you don't press it, it's not going to taste as good as a Cuban sandwich. So on the cigar, when you take the cigar and you press it, it's forcing the tobacco to live together in a more closer proximity. So it just marries quicker. It tastes so much better. It'll really surprise you because it also picked up the strength of the cigars for some odd reason. So it's interesting. It's the first box press, and they've been wanting to do it for a while, and now they got the Family Reserve line going with Guillermo and Fernando Leon, and it works. One of my favorite cigars that La Aurora ever produced was the Pure Vintage 2003. The 2005 is right up there. It's a little bit more complex than the 2004, but the flavor profile is a little bit similar to that of what the 2003 was. And the Casa Miranda, I've already gone through a bundle and a half at work, so I'm waiting to get yelled at to slow down, much like I got yelled at last year with all the Connecticut's I smoked. But honestly, I can't say that there's one cigar that we're coming out with that I'm hesitant to smoke. And it's not just drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, I was a fan of Miami Cigar before I moved to Florida. I'm still a fan of Miami Cigar, obviously, but the cigars that we're coming out with between last year and this year, it seems like there's a little bit more diversification and there's a little bit more complexity. And there's cigars that fit today's cigar smoker more so than, say, in the past. The 107 Maduro is a perfect attest to that. Even the Diamond last year from La Aurora, these are stronger cigars. La Aurora was never associated with making strong cigars. And as the marketplace has changed and people are looking for more fuller-bodied, fuller-flavored cigars, La Aurora has been able to adapt and to produce cigars that fit today's connoisseur.
Yeah, that's that was one thing I liked about the 107. It felt like, I mean, the blend is the same. It just has a different wrapper, but it felt like it was a stronger cigar for me. It was definitely more flavor, full flavor for sure. It had that nice, your kind of stuff that you normally expect from a Maduro. You get that sweetness, but there was just more to it. I felt with that wrapper. And the Casa Miranda Chapter 2. I actually haven't had the Chapter 1, but I really liked the Chapter 2. It was very medium for me, lots of flavor. Yeah, that was an enjoyable cigar for sure.
Well, the Chapter 1 was as boutique as it gets. I mean, you had a cigar that was rolled in Miami and Cali Ocho at El Titan the Bronze. You had the boxes produced in Miami. You had the bands produced in Orlando. I mean, the whole cigar was, with the exception of the tobacco being grown in the countries of origin, it was an American-made cigar. But because it was an American-made cigar and the wages being higher, the cigar was a little bit more expensive, which may have hurt the cigar in the long run, because a $10 Robusto compared to, I think the Robusto on Chapter 2 is going to be $6.80. Made out of the country, a little bit cheaper labor. You're able to keep the prices down a little bit more. And surprisingly, like a lot of feedback when I was a consumer, people were like, "Oh, it's made in America. It should be cheaper." And I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, you don't have to go deal with the shipping and then all of that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but the American worker makes so much more money." So the Chapter 1s are still around. Hopefully, with the Chapter 2, they'll start getting a little bit more love that I feel they deserve. But the price is a little bit higher than I think what today's consumer is looking for, especially with the economy being the way it is. All the choices in the humidor that are out there, there's a lot of cigars that are coming out now in the $5, $6, $7 range. So.
Yeah. I was actually I you sent me some samples, came with a little sheet, it's got all the information on it. And so I read through it, and I'm smoking the cigar, and I really enjoyed it. And I went back as I'm starting to write my review, and just to get the price point, it was like $6.50 for the Robusto size, right? And that blew me away, just with that amount of flavor that you're getting from that stick. And I think I smoked it for, Logan will say I smoked too slow, but I think I smoked it for probably about an hour and 15 minutes, I guess. I mean, that's for that price, you can't really beat that.
Yeah, I agree with the price, and I'm a slow smoker as well. I remember Jose Blanco when he worked for La Aurora, and now, of course, he's with Hoya de Nicaragua. But when I went down on my first blogger trip, he took the time to really teach us the proper way to smoke. And I guess smoking is up to everybody's preferences, but he said you should only be pulling off of a cigar twice a minute so it doesn't burn too hot. So I'm a firm believer smoking slow. You don't want the cigar to get too hot because you want to be able to enjoy the subtle nuances. And if the cigar gets too hot, it builds up with moisture, and it makes the cigar a little bit bitter. So slow and steady wins the race. So, and plus, if you can make a $7 cigar last for an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
You're ahead of the game. It's what, $3.75 an hour. So
yeah. I find that the smaller the ring gauge. And we're going to talk about this. We've got another show after you with Ezra Zion, and we're going to talk about this with the Tantrum, because that's a small cigar. I find the smaller the cigar and the smaller the ring gauge, the slower I smoke it. And I don't know if that's just kind of a subconscious thing, or if that's what I should be doing or shouldn't be doing. I feel like if I smoked a Lancero at the same rate that I smoked a 56 ring gauge, that I'm just gonna torch the hell out of that Lancero. At least that's the way I think about it.
A smaller cigar will heat up quicker than a thicker 60 ring cigar. So
yeah, it makes sense.
You have to be more gentle with a smaller frame.
Yeah.
Excuse me, my mind was just in the gutter. So
yeah, it's we went from talking about it. You made it dirty. That was nice. And a nice little touch.
Yeah, I kind of have a knack for that. So. Hey, if my mind didn't live in the gutter, it would be homeless. So
there's another T-shirt.
Uh-oh.
Logan, you got to be gentle with it.
I am gentle. I try, dude. I was gonna say something dirty. I'm not going to.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We're doing a pretty good job so far. I'm surprised.
No F-bombs. 15 minutes in. We're doing awesome.
So
that's not any fucking good, bro.
I know. Fucking commies. There we go. Hey, my dad used to call them the Ruskies. Isn't that great? Like the Russians. The Russians. Instead of, communists or whatever, we call them the Ruskies. Like the Russians.
Okay.
Really quick funny story.
Let's hear it.
I owned a cigar store in Brooklyn, New York. And I had left for a while. And I didn't own the store at this point yet, but my business partner at the point, his other business partner got out. And then shortly after, the third business partner got out, and that's when I got in. But anyway, they hired a second business partner, this guy, Joe, who I'm still very close friends with today, who's Russian. So I come into the cigar one day, and I'm looking around, and I don't see Joe. So I'm sitting down next to Ron, and I go, hey, where the hell's the commie? I don't see the commie anymore. And he's ignoring me. I'm like, come on, bro, where's Commie Joe? And Joe from behind me, I'm standing right behind you. So I'm calling this guy a commie, and he's right behind me. To this day, I still call him Commie Joe, and his ringtone on my phone is the Russian anthem.
That's great, dude.
But anyway, I guess it was funnier to me than it was to Rob. So there's crickets in San Francisco right now.
Apparently. I like it. I think it's great.
I was muted. That was funny. I've got a windy situation going on back here. I've got a fan on to try to keep my computer from overheating. So as a courtesy, I'm muting my microphone when I'm not talking. And then I'm an idiot and I forget to unmute it and I start talking and you guys can't hear me. But moving on.
Well, I will ask questions so Rob, you can mute your mic. Will that work? Okay. Thumbs up. Yeah. So Barry, I know this might seem like a silly question. A little bit before you referenced the TAA shops. I've seen that on, a few cigars. Can you elaborate on Tobacconist Association of America? Is that right? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more and what that means? And you said the cigars were shipping there?
Yeah, the Tobacconist Association of America is a group of retailers that get together every March, late March, early April. They usually get together in I think in Cabo in Mexico. This year they did it in the Dominican Republic. But the only way you become a member of the TAA, to my knowledge, is if you get invited in. And a lot of the power players of the cigar industry are involved in the TAA. So it's kind of like a mini convention for the TAA members that happen, late March, early April. So they kind of get like two conventions out of it. But the support from these stores to the manufacturers is so great that a lot of times various companies will reward them with a TAA only cigar.
Okay.
Pete's done it in the past with, Tatuaje, and other companies have done it as well. This year we did it with the 107 Maduro. And it's a close knit cigar group of cigar stores, and they support the industry. So in turns, manufacturers support those stores, and the stores are supporting their customers by offering them something that can't be bought anywhere else, specifically in the catalogs and online. So.
Very cool. Is it? I mean, who actually runs the TA, and is it invite only based on volume or reputation or?
I think it has to do with a little bit of both. Reputation's a huge part of it. They have a president. I'm not sure who the current president is. I know Gary Pesh at one time was. I think Abe at Smoking is on the board. I don't have the particulars in front of me, but they have a voting process, and the head of the TAA changes, I believe, yearly or every couple of years. But Gary Pesh is big in it. At Old Virginia Tobacco, I believe, and Abe Dabinard, Smoking, and there's so many other great shops on it, and I feel bad not naming them. Like Burns Tobacconist in Chattanooga is a member of TAA. And my apologies for not mentioning the other stores that do deserve to be mentioned. It's just there's so many. So. Now I'm hearing nothing from you guys. Your lips are moving.
That's me. That's me.
That's Logan's fault.
That's
man.
me.
I was ready to go.
I know. So you're doing you said the La Aurora 107 Maduro. Like, is it something that you do? Manufacturers make a cigar for the TA. Every couple of years, is there rotation? Is it like the World Series gets? Who gets to host like the All-Star game? How does that typically work?
No, basically anybody that wants to make the limited edition to support the TAA or release something early to the TAA can throw it on board. I don't. There's no rhyme or reason to who's going to be approved and who's not going to be approved. If you want to make something specifically for the TAA, go for it. In our case, the 107 Maduro blend, which it went through numerous blends before we found the blend. And we found it late last year, so there was enough time to roll it, package it, band it, age it, and have it ready for shipping for the TAA. So that one just fell into place of being ready at the right time and having enough of it in the aging room for the TAA members. And I'm sure some of the manufacturers think, and I can't speak for them, but I'd like to think that some of them plan ahead and they go, all right, this year we're going to do this, next year we're going to do that. But it was met with great success on our end, and it might be something we do again for TAA in 2014. Although there haven't been any solid discussions on it, but it's come up. What are we going to do next year? So after the trade show, we go to Dortmund in Germany for the Intertobac trade show, and after that, we'll figure out what we're going to do. Whether it be a specific size or we'll see what happens.
Very cool. I didn't know that. Learned something new today. It's like the infomercials where you learn something new, like PBS. It's awesome. So, Barry, you, and I might quote this wrong, so I want to make sure that I get it right, but you've been at Miami Cigar for a couple of years now, and from my understanding, you have your hand in blending your own cigar. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been with Miami for 17 months now, and after our sales meeting, Jason Wood, who's the vice president of Miami Cigar, who was a personal friend of mine as well before moving to Miami Cigar, and it's cool, even though he's my boss, we've maintained that friendship, but he wanted me to learn everything about the manufacturing side of the business. So I went to La Aurora for a week, and I spent a few days in the field sweating my ass off and, learning how to harvest tobacco and learning how to identify tobacco, and at the end of the trip, I was able to walk through the field and say that's Corojo, that's Criollo, that's Dominican Olor, just by the shape of the plant. So after a couple of days of that, I spent a couple of days with Manuel Noah, he's He's the head of the floor in the factory, and he's one of the blenders. You know, him and Guillermo blend. Of course, Guillermo signs off on all the blends that releases. Guillermo's a master blender. But Manuel Anoas taught me about tobacco and all the different varieties that La Aurora has available. So while at La Aurora, I blended 8 different cigars, 6 of which, you know, were dog rockets. The different tobaccos just didn't work well with each other. Funky taste, lack of strength, too much strength. And there were 2 blends that I fell in love with. And the one blend that I fell in love with was going to be sampled at Burns Tobacconist. It's a Chattanooga Tweet Up. It'll be in a 4-pack. They'll be for sale. Based upon the response that we get out of the Chattanooga Tweet Up, we'll probably do the same thing at the Chicago Tweet Up. And then after that, we'll sit down and we'll talk whether or not the cigar becomes a line that, you know, will continue into the future. And if it tanks, then, you know,
you had your own cigar.
I'll have my resume out there because, you know, I don't know if Miami will keep me after that. But
that's great.
But, you know, it's a full-bodied cigar. It's an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper over a Cameroon binder. There's 4 different types of Lajero tobacco in the filler, 2 Dominican and Nicaraguan, and Pennsylvania broadleaf in the filler as well. So it's really a kick-ass, full-bodied cigar. And the people I've sampled it with, they were surprised because I'm not really a full-bodied smoker. I prefer my cigars medium-bodied. But the cigar, like when I started smoking it, I fell in love with it. Despite being so strong, there was just so much flavor attached to it. And it seems like what people were looking for. I kind of blended the cigar for social media. And social media tends to like the stronger, fuller-bodied smokes.
Like me.
So that's kind of what I went with, and I was surprised by how much I personally enjoyed it. I've gotten 3 bundles in so far, 60 cigars. After this cigar, I got like 2 or 3 left, and I'm waiting. There we go. And so, you know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's well received and it's liked and it moves forward. But you know, I'm not putting on, you know, what is it? I'm not putting my eggs before the chicken, whatever the saying is.
Not putting all my eggs in one basket.
Nah, I don't think that's like the, you know, what came first, the chicken
the cart before the horse. The cart before the horse.
The cart before the horse. So, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, I'm hanging out with all these Cubans. I'm becoming, you know, English as a second language person myself. So I'm figuring out how to speak.
How's your Spanish coming along?
Horrible. Horrible. I know how to order food and I know how to handle my own at a domino table. That's about it.
We talked about Barry's Spanish last time on the show, and I don't know if it was I who was trying to get Rosetta Stone or if it was you at the time, but I don't know, maybe it hasn't worked on you yet.
I did some of the Rosetta Stone, but the Cuban dialect is so different than traditional Spanish. Mm-hmm. When you take the Rosetta Stone, it doesn't help. I mean, for instance, in Cuban, the Cuban word for go is dale. But in the Dominican Republic, they don't know what dale is. So I'm on the bus with a bunch of retailers. We're sitting in the bus. I'm telling the driver dale, and he's just sitting there. I'm like, what is he, deaf? And then one of the guys who was on the bus, who was Dominican, he goes, dale is only a Cuban word. I was like, okay, since you speak Spanish, tell them we're ready to go. I mean,
we're ready to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. I mean, vamonos doesn't even work, because I think vamonos is
vamonos.
But, you know, it is what it is. I'm starting to understand conversations. I'm just not comfortable to speak it. I can't roll my R's, and it takes me a minute to realize double L is Y. You know, like, pollo doesn't roll off my tongue as fluently as it should. But
no,
at least I know when people are talking about me now. So
if they call you a chicken.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Basically.
So
yeah, that, never mind.
No, say it. You got to say it. No, I'm just kidding. Don't say it.
My hair got lighter in the sun down here, so my hair has kind of a blondish hue. So Hector Paz, who I work with, who loves to break my horns, keeps calling me a Maricon because he thinks I'm dyeing my hair. But it's the sun that's making it lighter. So that's like a daily battle in itself. One of the greatest guys to work with, but he busts my horns like you would not believe. Anyway.
You got some highlights going. That's good.
That's awesome,
you know,
dude.
I'm feeling fabulous, so.
I'm feeling fabulous. So with with your cigar that you're blending, so you said you kind of blended it to social media. Like, was this a blend that you kind of said, hey, this is the right thing, I want to go with this? Or how did the process work for you specifically? Was it you saying, hey, I think this is good, let me seek feedback? Or were you seeking feedback through the entire process? How did you arrive at the one you were just showing us?
Well, the kilo began with the process of I wanted to blend something at La Aurora that was ridiculously strong, but at the same time I wanted to have a nice amount of flavor. So that's when I blended kilo and the three others that failed. I wanted the cigar just to be ultra strong. I wanted to show that we can make something extremely strong in the Dominican Republic that rivals a Nicaraguan cigar. And I think I managed to do that with this cigar. And I hate to say because the one thing about Miami Cigar, it's a team effort. If Jason didn't give me the opportunity to go and learn, and Manuel and Noah didn't teach me what his knowledge, I wouldn't have learned. So it's not an I thing; it's a we thing. Um, but I wanted to make the cigar that was strong. I wanted to make the cigar that I could give it to you and you smoke it. You go, nah, there's no way that's Dominican. Just Dominican, with the exception of maybe one or two companies, people look at Dominican cigars and they go, oh, they're mild or they're medium. That's what my dad smoked. And but I gave out the cigar at Neighborhood Humidor, which is a cigar store that I hang out here in Miami, and they were like, oh, it's Nicaraguan. And I was like, no, it's not. And it's funny, when I first did the cigar, Hector didn't want to smoke it. Nestor didn't want to smoke it. Jason didn't want to smoke it. Nobody wanted to smoke it. And I was like, but it's a good cigar. You got to smoke it. And they're like, no, I'm not going to smoke it. So I brought the bundle over to Neighborhood Humidor. Everybody smoked it, and everybody loved it. Hector showed up, and they were telling him, oh, you got to smoke Barry's cigar. It's really good. You got to smoke it. So he goes, all right, B, give me one. I was like, bro, I don't have any left. So I had to get more. I had to get more from the factory, and he smoked it, and he said it's too strong for him, but he could see where it's a good cigar. So he convinced Jason to try it, and Jason was like, all right, it's not bad. And for Jason to say it's not bad, to me, that was a compliment. Because the next thing you know, I was like, so can we release it? And he goes, yeah, we'll release it. Design the band, design the box. The only thing is you can't use the graphic artist for it. You can't, everything you have to design from scratch. So me, who can barely draw a stick figure, did the band, did the box, and I went with the name Kilo because one of the first things you learn in Miami is 2.2 pounds to a kilo. So that's where we went with the cigar.
That's cool.
Originally, I wanted to wrap the cigar in newspaper and hold it together with duct tape. And I'll admit that's the route I was going to go with Kilo. I watched Scarface, I watched Cocaine Cowboys. I was like, Kilo is synonymous with Miami, for bad or for good. It was the drug trade that helped build downtown Miami. Without the drug trade, most of the high-rises wouldn't have existed. There wouldn't have been an influx of money. But then the whole newspaper and the duct tape thing, too much of a gimmick. So, but I like the name Kilo, and I said, let's just go with the gold route. So, if you look at a kilo of gold, they're all stamped 1 kilo. The band of the cigar will have 1 kilo on it. The box will have 1 kilo on it. The 4-count box, instead of saying 4 count, will say 4 carat. And,
nice.
we'll just go from there.
Very cool. Very cool. And what's the price point or the MSRP that you're expecting?
Right now, the price point is $8 Robusto.
Okay.
It might change, hopefully a little bit for the better. We're still working. We're still looking to see what we can do to lower the price a little bit. But for now, I'll be honest with you, lowering the price probably isn't realistic. But they'll probably be between $8 for Robusto, and if we come out with more sizes in the future, and that's a very, very big if at this time. I'm expecting the cigar to be between 8 on a Robusto and up to 10.50 on, say, like a Gran Toro or something.
Okay. Very cool. Rob, back to you. I mean, I talk for a long damn time. That's like the most you've ever let me talk. It's amazing.
I let you talk whenever you want to talk.
Well, that's true. And I was asking some damn good questions too.
You were. That was insightful stuff.
I was in it to win it.
This is not American Idol.
Could be.
So, Barry, I want to talk a little bit about you mentioned you took your trip down to the La Aurora factory, and you were down there for a while. Kind of walk us through a little bit of that. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing. I mean, you're doing what a lot of the guys who are watching the show want to do. I mean, you've gone from reviewing the cigars to you're working for a cigar company. Now you're blending your own stuff. I mean, you've taken all the steps that we all want to take. In a trip like that, I mean, was this your first trip down to La Aurora? And as far as blending, I mean, what was that kind of an overwhelming experience? Was it really just they just kind of give you the keys and say, here, go ahead, blend what you want, or did you have some direction?
No, they basically gave me the keys to do what I want. I'm lucky enough that La Aurora's accepted me. I was friendly with Guillermo Leon to the point where wherever he came to New York, he would call me up and we'd go have a drink or dinner together. Whenever Jason or Nestor was in town, we would meet up at Cigar Inn or 54th and 2nd, New York City, owned by three brothers. Great shop. Little plug for them. But it wasn't just like I was hired out of the blue. I developed a friendship with them. A lot of companies thought I was too controversial online because I always speak my mind. But my online persona is a little bit different than my personal persona. And Miami Cigar decided to take a chance on me, so I got lucky on that aspect. But I'd gone to La Aurora twice as a blogger. I'd gone to La Aurora on the sales meeting. Last year I went to La Aurora for 3 consumer trips, leading the trips. This year I went to another consumer trip. So what is that, 7 so far? And then I went again to blend the cigar. So I've been there between 6 and 8 times. I lost count. And when I was a blogger, I went down with General Cigar, and General Cigar let us blend cigars on that trip. And at the end of the tour, they gave awards for the best blend, the best construction. Stephen Boyajian won best construction, but he was hungover, so I don't think the awards meant anything. But they told me I had the best blend. But yet, I don't think the awards meant anything. So maybe it went to my head a little bit like, oh, you know what, one day I want to blend a cigar. And thankfully, Jason is as crazy enough as I am to let me attempt it. And, it's one cigar. It's coming out for the tweet ups. It's such a small part of our company. And it may never get past the tweet ups. But I'm just happy to have the opportunity to try it. I mean, our focus as a company is on the Nestor Miranda Special Selection, the La Aurora 107, the Guillermo Leon, the Fernando Leon, Leon Jimenez, Puro Vintage, La Serena, Merlion, so on and so forth. I mean, it's still my focus in marketing and advertising. It's still my focus in social media. But I'm happy with the kilo. A couple of times Jay is like, slow down. There's been shops on Twitter that have told me, hey, I want to buy it. But it's like, we can't put the cart before the horse. We got to see what everybody says. What I like, you might think sucks, or you might think it's the greatest cigar ever produced. Until we get that feedback, who knows what's going to happen. So, but at the end of the day, it's like I love the relationships in the cigar industry. Like I love going to the Chattanooga Tweet Up. To me, isn't work. It's 3 days of hanging out with everybody you talk to on Twitter. It's 3 days of hanging out with people who are responsible for me having my dream job. So, you know what? You're letting me talk here for an hour, and I'm rambling, and it might sound like utter nonsense to some, but if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have a job today. So, I'm trying to remain true to who I was, and I don't know. I'm for the first time in my life, I'm happy, as I'm trying to say. I work for the greatest cigar company in the world. I work for the greatest bosses in the world. I work with the greatest people in the world, and I get to hang out with the greatest website in the world. So, it's all good times. Wow. By the way, one of those was a lie, but I'm not going to say which one.
I'm putting that in my pocket for a rainy day whenever I get depressed.
Yeah, he just cheered me up.
He did.
It's like a Lifetime movie.
Hell yeah.
It's the blonde hair. It's made me a little bit more.
Yeah, it's the highlights. It's definitely the highlights. So with the Chattanooga Tweet Up, I've never actually gone. Logan, have you been to the Tweet Up?
Nope.
No. When is it? It's coming up.
It's August. 1st. August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Okay.
It's at Burns Tobacconist.
I'm in India.
And there's, it's 3 nights. The first day is in Burns downtown, and the next is just two Burns. There's Burns East and Burns downtown. So the first one is in Burns East, and then the second night is in Burns downtown, and then the last night is back in East. But on the second day, to break up the monotony at night, we're going on like a riverboat cruise down the lake, or whatever lake runs through Chattanooga. Last year we went to a baseball game, which was amazing.
Smoke.
No, you were able to smoke in right
Really?
field. They had a smoking section. They had like a picnic area in right field, no seats, but you can lean against the wall. That was like, you leaned over into foul territory. It'd be like first row in any given stadium. It was brick, like Wrigley Field, or PNC Park, or even the new San Francisco Stadium has brick.
Yeah.
And you'd lean over and you'd watch the game and you'd smoke the cigar. It was funny. There's this guy on Facebook and Twitter, Leslie Levin, and he's leaning over the wall and he drops his cigar. And he's yelling at the right fielder to pick up his cigar for him.
Shit. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but, it was good. I mean, that's why, like, I wrote an article for Cigar Advisor. Chattanooga's like one of my 5 favorite cities because you can't smoke at a sporting event anymore, but in Chattanooga you were able to. So.
Yeah, I know when I went down to Cigar Safari, David Jones, he puts together most of that trip. He was, or most of that, the tweet up, him and, I can't think of, Keith, right?
Yeah, Keith Jones.
They put that thing together. But yeah, he was talking a lot about it. He works really hard on that. And it sounded like it was, I mean, this is the 2nd or 3rd year. It sounded like it was a really good event. I'd like to get out to it eventually, but no, he puts a lot of hard work into it. So I'm glad to hear that that's the kind of thing that I mean, you went out there and you enjoyed it. So I know he works hard on that one.
Definitely, without a doubt.
So what else we got, Logan? We got some audience questions?
We do have a few questions. First one, and this is from Harley Holmes. Barry, is the kilo going to be available at any brick and mortars, or where should I get them if I want them?
Right now, they'll be strictly available through the Chattanooga Tweet Up at Burns and probably the Chicago Tweet Up. I know Burns does do mail orders, so if you call up August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, they'll probably ship you a 4-pack. But whether it makes it to a brick and mortar will all depend on the feedback from those 2 events. So hopefully yes, but there's no guarantees.
So call up Burns August 1st, basically, and then cross your fingers.
Yes.
Done. Somebody told me I need to call you Stephen Boiler Chicken. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, Stephen Boylejian, who I told you won the best constructed cigar, everybody was calling him Stephen Boiler Chicken. So
that's what Matt Rosenthal just said. Call you Boiler Chicken.
Yeah, so that brings back a funny moment in the DR. So, but I'll just leave it in the DR because it's kind of like what happens there stays there. So.
Well, okay.
I saw another question, and we touched on this, and this was a question from Matt Rosenthal again. We touched on this a little bit. I know we talked about it on our last show. Well, for you, going from blogger to working for a manufacturer, what were the biggest hurdles that you had to overcome taking that step? I know we talked about a little bit of those offline, and we'll keep that offline. But just what were the biggest things that you encountered?
I think some of it had to do with the being accepted. Whether it's in my mind or if it was realistic, I guess that's open for debate. I'm not of Cuban, Dominican, or Nicaraguan background, so tobacco isn't in my blood like many of the great families who produce cigars. I mean, even just look at Guillermo Leon with La Aurora. The factory's been in existence since 1903. His grandfather, his father, now him, and his daughter is learning the business. So it's a family business. So here I am, a guy that smoked cigars for a hobby. I owned a cigar shop in Brooklyn, New York. I was a hobbyist. I wrote cigars. I gave my opinion. Some people believe that you can get notes of chocolate and nuts, and some people think that you're nuts for thinking you're getting nuts. So I think a lot of it had to do with he's a blogger, he's never going to last. Now that I've been here in 17 months, the perceived notations I got of maybe not being accepted have perceivably started to go away. So I think part of it was like, I was unproven. I was a blogger, and to a degree, bloggers. There are some companies that go out of their way and love bloggers till the end of days, and there are some people who see bloggers as being an annoyance within the industry. Um, so I think I had to get past that. I think I had to prove myself to be worthy of where I am. 17 months later, I'm still here. So either Jason's just as crazy as I am, or I'm doing something right. But it's nice now to run into some power plays within the industry and be brought into the fold into conversation. Whether that was the me being, not having it in my blood, or me being a stranger to Miami, open for debate. I would say that was the biggest hurdle to overcome, was to be accepted by my peers. So, I mean, even when right now at work, when we do the test blends, when we do the test blends and we're smoking them in the office, and we're going around the round table and we're going, what do you think? I'll still say, it's good. I'm getting notes of chocolate with a coffee bean in the background, and Hector jumps all over me. But now, in the beginning, I'll admit, in the beginning, I took it like, all right, I'm a blogger in his eyes. But now I realize it's his nature of his beast, and he's turned into one of my closest friends. But in his joking around and his having fun with it, there have to be some people within the industry that believe it to be true, that is a crock of shit. And I think those were the people that I had to prove myself to. And I think there are some people that are shocked that I'm still here 17 months later, and I think there are some people that truly believed in me, like Jason would. So it is what it is.
So when we had you on the first time, you were still pretty new in your job, right? You had only been in there for 7 or 8 months, I guess.
Yeah. And, I was still unsure of myself. I was still wondering where we were going to go. I was still wondering if I was going to wind up back in New York. And, now it's at the point where I don't think I'm going to wind up back in New York unless I screw something up so bad, like the samples don't get to Vegas on time. But, I'm finally confident in my position. So, I guess that's the biggest change between when we first chatted and now. There's a comfort level.
That's good. That's all you can ask for, really. And you're doing something you love to do, and now you feel comfortable doing it. That's good.
It's nice to wake up in the morning and I have to go, fuck, I got to go to work. It's like I wake up in the morning, it's like, all right, let's go to work,
There's still got to be those days, though, where you're just like, ugh.
No way.
No?
No way, dude.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, you got like the second greatest job in the world. I mean, I would trade places with you for a week.
You say that, but
Done.
Get in the middle of a 12-game homestand in the middle of July, and you're losing 4 games to the Marlins. No offense.
No, they suck. I'm a Yankee fan through and through, but the Marlins suck.
Yeah, they are. They've got some young talent, but nobody cares about the Marlins probably except for you and me. So we'll move on. But
yeah, Miami doesn't. That's for sure.
Well, that stadium too, man. It looks like there's something about dome stadiums, and they've got that one. Is it Tropicana? Is not the one that they play in.
They play at Marlin Park.
Okay, so Tropicana is where the Rays play.
Right, but the stadium in Miami is retractable, but if the temperature is going to be over 80 degrees, they have to keep it closed, which to me is crazy. I mean, I would go to games personally. I would go to games personally if the roof was open. Hey, it's a night outdoors. You can get like second row seats off of third base for $13.
Oh, holy shit!
They're giving away tickets just to get people in the stands.
I believe
that's better than the Round Rock Express, the AAA team that plays by my house.
Yeah,
and I have a Dell discount. We built the damn stadium, and it's more expensive.
I mean, 3,000 people go to a game, so they're giving away the tickets. They figure, hey, we'll put you in for $13. You'll spend $20 at concessions. We'll break even.
It's like the Expos back in the day. That's
same owner. It's the same owner, so
Is it really?
Yeah.
I should know that.
Yeah, Peter Laurier ran the. Laurier? Yeah, he ran the Expos into the ground. He wanted to move them to Puerto Rico. He said that he couldn't do anything, So Bud Selig gave him the Marlins. You know, he did the same thing with the Marlins. If you remember the year that there was the strike, Montreal finished in first place at the
94, yeah.
Right, in the strike. And in that offseason, they traded all their talent. Everybody, Pedro Martinez, Galarraga, you name it. If they were a talent on that,
and all those guys, Larry Walker, they had so much talent back then. We are getting so far off topic. Nobody cares about this, but that's when you think about those teams. They had some talent, man.
Robbie Rash, Sports Talk.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll have to get another show, and I'll put you on that one too. Sorry, go ahead, Logan. You got some audience questions?
No, that's about it. No, I was just saying I was very interested in the baseball conversation.
Well, we've got some stuff to give away, and we need some questions from you guys in order to give it away.
Nobody cares about a fat kid from Brooklyn, so you know.
We've got some. We got 2 T-shirts, 2 Miami Cigar T-shirts, and a 5-pack of the pre-release 5-pack of the Casa Miranda Chapter 2. You guys can't even get that until what? That's gonna hit shelves when?
Never.
Casa Miranda Chapter 2 will ship probably 2 weeks after the trade show.
Yeah, so you're talking August.
Yeah, first week of August it should start appearing in stores.
Yeah, so now, but you can get one now for free. Nobody's asking any questions. So,
all right, you can get 5 of them.
What's that?
And I tell you what, I'll throw in a kilo.
And a kilo.
Dude, that's like
a kilo.
I can't. I know.
Some good questions.
So have I.
You actually, Logan, you've asked better questions than me.
I know. I'm fucking amazing.
You are.
At least today.
Oh, wait. Did Bill ask a question? Oh, he says, okay, Bill asked a question. He says, other than Miami cigars, what do you like to smoke, and what is your preferred Vitola?
Womp, womp, womp.
My preferred Vitola is Lancero. Lancero and Robusto are neck and neck. I like Nicaraguan cigars, so I tend to stay toward Nicaragua. There is some great stuff coming out of the Dominican Republic, so I do smoke that as well. But my preference is Nicaragua. So I lean toward the cigars that have spice and strength. And that's the one thing I'm really happy with La Aurora lately with the 107 Maduro and the Preferido Diamond. It's starting to step out of that Dominican comfort level, and they're kind of changing gears. They're shifting the universe a little bit, so to speak. So, but I won't name other companies.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's always a tough question because you don't want to be the guy who says, well, I only smoke my own stuff, because everybody knows that's not true.
That's bullshit.
But we're here to talk about your product, so why you're not
I will say this, I'm a fan of people. I smoke cigars of some of the colorful people within the industry. And I'll leave it at that. I mean, there's 3 colorful people, and I'll tend to smoke those. For every 6 or 7 cigars I smoke of mine, I'll smoke one of theirs. So there's 3 of them. So it's 3.
I want to guess. Well, I think I know 2 of them, but I'm trying to think who the third would be.
Okay.
I would say colorful. I mean, I don't know how you define colorful, but I'm going to assume. I'm thinking Pete Johnson, Matt Booth has to be one, and then the third one. Who's colorful? I don't know. John Huber? I don't know. I mean, he's more tattoo than colorful.
I like Huber. Huber's a great person. Unfortunately, the Miami cigar scene is horrible. I mean, you can't find certain sticks down here. So Huber's not one of them. Though if your cigars were down here, you possibly could be one of them. But you were on the money with the other 2. And next question.
Okay, done. Well,
so
the other guy shares his initials with a type of whiskey, or it could be bourbon. No, it's whiskey. No, it might be bourbon or whiskey, but you mix it with Coke.
Rum?
Nah. Jack Daniels. Next question.
Okay.
Oh, dude, how the hell could I miss that? That was easy. That was stupid.
I even knew that one. I was sandbagging. I was waiting for you to figure it out. Though.
That's a good answer. So while we're waiting for some audience questions, I know we have the trade show coming up. You know, for the people that will be there for new media, and what can we expect out of Miami Cigar? We kind of talked about the cigar. You know, I mean, you have anything cool planned with your booth or anything interesting we should look out for?
Yeah, every day at the end of the trade show, the last we'll say the last half hour. So the trade show closes at 5. So somewhere between 4:15 and 4:30, we start serving Presidente beer and rum.
Are you shitting me or being serious?
I'm being 100% serious.
Oh,
So
fuck.
every year, every day, the end of the trade show, ice cold Presidente beer that you'll be like, how the hell did they get it that cold? And the new Lara Roar rum will be sampling at the booth. And that's the only way you're going to get the rum for the foreseeable future, because it's not for sale yet. It'll be at maybe some tasting events, but it'll be at the trade show every day at 4:30. Come join us in our beautiful bottles and kick back, light up a cigar, drink a little whiskey, get a little bit of a buzz on, and then it's time to enjoy the nightlife of Vegas.
Done. I'll be there Monday or Tuesday. Give you time to go sell.
You're welcome there. You're welcome there anytime, bro.
I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll weasel my way in. So, let me see if we got any questions. Of course not. People don't ask anything. They're like, Jonathan Drew, you dummy. Like, I mean.
But, the Lara Roar booth is a replica of their first factory in 1903, so it looks like a building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the booth actually used to be taller, but we had to lower the height a little bit. So, it was above FAA regulations or something like that. But,
that's awesome.
If your first show, prepare to do a lot of walking.
Oh yeah,
it's a good time.
So, comfortable shoes.
Yeah, definitely comfortable shoes. I made the mistake last year doing the Miami thing of shoes and no socks. My feet were raw. So
I chuckle because it sounds like something I would do, and then you're paying the price for that. That's brutal.
Yeah. First thing I bought this year for the trade show was a couple of pairs of socks.
All right, Logan, let's pick some winners.
All right, so we're doing, you said 2 shirts and then the 5-pack, right?
Yeah, 5-pack plus 1.
So we're doing them separately, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
3 winners.
All right, let me just pull out my random person generator. Okay, pick, Barry, pick a number between 1 and 13.
You didn't ask 13 questions, bro.
I know. Well, I'm opening it up to a wider spectrum of people.
Okay, unlucky 13.
All right.
Number
Dave.
11.
Okay, whoa. Okay, Dave, you win a shirt. Yeah, good job, Rob. Number 11's actually me, but that won't count. So we'll drop it to, which one do you want to go to next?
11 was my favorite hockey player, Randy Wood, played for the Islanders. So we'll go with number 9, who is my second favorite hockey player, Clark Gillies of the Islanders.
Matt Rosenthal, you win a shirt. Good job.
And back in the day when I played hockey in high school, I wore the number 5, so we'll go with 5.
This is a new guy, Eric Itchit something. Good job. You win the 5-pack, buddy. Eric E-H-A-T. Eric Achat.
What?
I don't fucking know how to say his name. I'm not like a linguist.
I don't want to. It sounded like you said. Never mind.
What did it sound like I said?
All I know is I saw Rob raise an eyebrow, so he thinks you said what I thought you said.
Very true. But he didn't say that, so we're going to move on.
Yes.
You didn't clap for him.
Oh,
Yay.
sorry. I closed out the sound effects, so I apologize. All right, so I think we're going to wrap this up. We've kept Barry here as long as the hour that I promised, so he's got to get going. We've got to reboot for second half of the doubleheader with Ezra Zion, so everybody just stick around. We've got another show following this one. Barry, thanks again. I don't know why we're stuck on Logan. Barry, thanks again for taking the time. We appreciate it. You're always very generous with us with your time and the giveaways and stuff like that, so we do appreciate it. And we will. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person in July next week, or in August in Vegas. Good Lord!
Dude, 1 week, dummy.
Next
week in Vegas.
It definitely should be a good time. Just a really quick invite. I don't know if you know about the party. The first night of the trade show, there's a boutique party that Frank Herrera from Charm Leaf and Herrera Cigars is putting together.
Be there.
It's going to take place at the Dive Bar. If you need to know the exact address, shoot me an email. I'll give it to you if you want to put it up on your site. It's open to the public.
Oh, really?
You don't need a badge to get in. You might need to sign up on charmleaf.com to get
You do.
pass to get in, but you don't need a IPCPR badge to get in.
Oh, cool.
And there'll be manufacturers around. There'll be drinking. There'll be cigars given away. It'll be a good time. So,
is that Saturday or Sunday?
I think it's Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
It's the first night of the full trade show.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, I know that Logan and I are on the list, and I looked at the guest list. It looks like there's going to be some interesting folks there. A lot of people who we've had on the show are going to be there, so it's going to be fun to get a chance to meet you guys actually in person.
Awesome. You'll see for the majority the way we are here is the way we're in person. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm anticipating, which I think is probably going to make it even more interesting.
Definitely. So I just think all these big egos in one room. So
I'm already claustrophobic.
Jesus.
So again, Barry, we appreciate it, man. Best of luck to you. We will see you next week, and best of luck with the kilo, man. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you find some success with that.
Thanks, man. I'll try to save
cool.
I'll try to save 2 of them, 1 for each of you.
That would be very cool.
No promises though, because I can't stop smoking. So.
Hey, it's all right.
All right, Barry. Have a good night, guys. Thanks again for joining us for another cigar chat. We've got another one coming up right after this. We're going to close this one out. We'll have a new video window up in a few minutes, so bear with us. We'll have some have the Ezra Zion guys, and we'll have some tantrums available for you, all you weasels. So, again, thanks for all the support. Rob at Robbie Raz Reviews, Logan at Dell, and Barry, you are MCC at MCC Barry, correct?
That is correct.
MCC Barry, and you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You're all over the place, so you guys can find.
Yeah, Facebook is facebook.com/a cigar smoker and facebook.com/Miami Cigar Company.
Cool. Thanks, Barry. Have a good night, man.
See you in a week, Barry. Adios, buddy.
Peace.
Good night.